Hey, sixth grade, it's our first worksheet for for unit 9. Today we're talking about points, lines, line segments, and arrays, right? A point is just a place in space, right? It stands alone. There's a capital A for point A, there's a capital C for point C. We always use capital letters. A line is a set of points in a straight path. It extends infinitely. So you might notice that here is a line, but on both sides is an arrowhead to show that it goes on forever. We write that little arrow with arrowheads on both sides, that line with arrowheads on both sides, and we can say that it's line AB or BA. Here's why. If I start near A and I keep on going through B, I highlight that line. But if I start near B and go through A, do you see that I highlight the same line? So it doesn't matter if you say AB or if you say BA. The next one is a line segment. The difference in a line segment is that it ends exactly at that point. It does not continue infinitely. It just plain stops. So when we write those, you might notice that it has lost its arrow. There's no arrow. It's just a little chunk of a line. Again, we can call that AB or BA. But the last one is the one that you have to be a little bit careful on. This is array. When I'm looking at array, we always start at the point and we extend through to the arrow. So that means we start at A and go through B, which means when you name array, you have to do it the same way. Start with A and it goes through B, right? Here we go. Let's do a couple of these, right? This one for number 1 has a point on one end and goes through another point to an arrow. That means that it is a ray. That's like the last example up above. Number 2, this one has a point on both sides and it's connected. That's like AB. That is a line segment. You can use the examples from up above to help you figure out what to call each one. Notice that your choices are right here: a point, a line segment, or array. Right? On the back side, here's where you need to actually do the drawing yourself. So if I look at number 1, I can see that there's an A and a B. So I'll draw a point A and a point B. Ooh, there's an R. A point B, and then I need a straight line through them. And then it says arrows on both ends. So this is line AB. For the next one, points C and D, just make sure that they're big enough that you can see them. Point C and point D. Right? Cool. Right? For number 5, be careful. This one is a ray. So that means you need a point M and a point N. Right? And then you have to look at which one comes first. There isn't a little dot here, but you kind of can imagine that there is one because it never, it doesn't keep on going. So then you need a line, well, kind of like a line, except it only extends in one direction, a ray that starts at M. Now, interestingly enough, you could do something kind of crazy. You could switch these around like this, right? But if the arrow only goes through point N, right, you can see that there's a dot right there at M. This is still ray MN. All right, then you need to use this figure right here for 7 through 10. Okay, and then you're going to use this figure right here for 11 through 14. So let's look at number 7. It says name 4 points. That one looks fairly easy. There's a dot, there's a dot, there's a dot, there's a dot. So that would be LMNO. Points. LMNO. Notice there's no P. And then it says name 2 line segments. Now this is where it's a little bit tricky because it doesn't really look like there's just line segments hanging out. But this right here could be a line segment as long as I stop right there. So if I'm talking about just the space between L and M, then we would call that L, M, and then a straight line right above them. No arrows. That would be a line segment. And so is this one, O to M. This time I'm going to call it MO. It doesn't really matter which order they go in, right? MO. There are 2 line segments. There are more. Then it says name 3 rays. This one's tricky because it got cut off a little bit, right? So you kind of have to imagine where the other one is. So here's an arrow. It goes through O and M. So I can call this ray MO. So how is ray MO different than line segment MO? Because ray MO includes this part and forever, whereas line segment MO was just the space in between the M and the O, right? So that is a ray, but so is here. Start at M, go through L, M, L, straight line, arrow, and then one that's really, really, really tricky to see. What if you just keep going back to that dot, right? Or I'll highlight this one more time. Start at N and go through L. Yeah, I really could do that because now it includes this little part right here. So that is ray NL. All right, and then the last thing, name the line in 3 ways. This one you can't really see, it got cut off, so we'll put it back on here. There really should be a little arrow right here. So how can we name this line? Well, we could start by calling it L through N. Start at L, go through N, extend in both directions. Hey, that's like my name, LN, right? Or we could start at the other end, start at N and go through L. So that would be like this, NL. Or we could just talk about M to N. As long as we have the arrows, that means it would go forever through M, and it just happens to go through L as well. Right? So I'm going to write MN, knowing that you could write it in either order. Using those as examples, try the bottom 11 through 14. Don't forget to take the mastery check after you've checked your answers.